Why, hello there. My name is Seahorse Tiger, captain of the lost, troubadour of the lonely, master of the wiggle machine, and I would like to talk to you about your tail. We've actually already done a video about your tail, but our administrator seems to have misplaced that video. Care to give us an update, administrator? Well, what happened was I had it on a hard drive, and then, I haven't kept track of the hard drives because I don't know how to label things. Oh, are we going to get a new administrator in this deal, or are we going to be stuck with this guy the whole time? Well, the problem is, it's the same person doing all the roles, so we're having a hard time getting the administrator to get an administrator to administrate him, because he's the administrator. I plead the fifth, and the fourth. How many can I plead? I plead them all. The main thing I would like to tell you about your tail is that you have one. Yes, you have a tail. That can't be. I don't see it. I don't see a tail. Well, tell me this. Are there other things you don't see that are real? For example, was there a time before you saw a plane? Yes, there was, and yet there's a plane. Admittedly, planes are what we would call human-made, whereas tails are what we would call made by humans. But just the body, not the intellect. But somehow we think of that as not human, the plane part. But the other things we make human... Has it occurred to anybody else that we have a very bizarre difference between what we consider human-made and natural, and what we would call man-made, by which we mean human-made, and therefore somehow unnatural? It's an odd distinction, no? For example, I give you Exhibit A. Hi, I'm Exhibit A. I work... You don't care. Oh, all right. Exhibit A is a human being. The human being has grown hair follicles. Why, thank you. Fingernails, livers, spines, etc. No one's ever commented on my etc.'s before. I'll take it as a compliment. It does all that, including breathing and seeing and whatnot, without thinking about how. I suppose you're right. For example, Exhibit A, can you please taste for us? Yes, of course. What would you like me to taste? No, we're just interested in you tasting. Just taste. You have the ability to taste. Well, taste. I don't know how to... I mean, I know how to taste something, but I don't know how to just taste. There's no such thing as just tasting without something you are tasting. So you admit that there is no such thing as taste unless there is another part of the world. Well, of course that's right, because the other part of the world is the thing I'm tasting. This is nonsense. Well, if it's nonsense, then how would you say taste is? Is it human-made, or is it part of the natural world? Well, I suppose, if you put it that way, then it's the world and the human sort of make taste together, I suppose, in the same way that an ear makes the music. Oh, no, the musician makes the music, but it doesn't become the music the musician's made until it lands on something that can translate those vibrations into what we would call sound. I mean, the vibrations are there, but they're just off into infinity until there's something to take it in. Exhibit A, you've gone over your allotted time for speaking as an exhibit. Goodbye, Exhibit A. Point being that being human and being of the natural world are the same thing, no matter the accoutrements. We might think to ourselves, well, a microwave is clearly not a natural thing. And it's not, particularly. But it is, particularly. Might it not be said that a twig, a dead twig, is a production of the tree as part of the tree in the same way that humans have created microwave phones? The point is, if you consider the world as a fluid fabric whose definition point is circumstance related, the distinction between this and that is not a distinction of separate worlds, human-made versus nature. It is simply the balance point of a relationship. Where those things meet, there is relation. Where there are moments where they're one and the same. Sometimes we're human, and that's kind of different, but sometimes it's the same thing. It is not one or the other. It is both some of the time, all of the time. Check this out. I know it's going to sound a little silly. Bear with me. Stride with me. Let's go someplace better. What? C'est la vie? Puis, take your relationship to your microwave. What? What are you talking about? You don't have a relationship with a microwave. That would be weird. Once a week, once a month, once a day. Relationship, a 30-second to 3-minute interaction where needs of yours are fulfilled by it. It is in your space. There is a device, a human-made device that uses natural wavelengths, uses microwaves, uses something of nature through a human device to amplify that nature onto objects to transform, to make them edible in a different way. This, if you were living in the jungle, would be equivalent to a magic genie, fairy, wizard, witch tree, right? If you lived in a medieval forest and you walked up and you're like, here's this unedible thing, let me just stick it in this hole in the tree, and the tree will take microwaves from, well, there just are microwaves, they reproduce them in a concentrated place, and out comes food. We call that magic. So for starters, is that part of your relationship with your microwave? However it got there, however you paid for it, whoever designed yours particularly, whatever assembly line put it together, whatever the history of microwaves in terms of when they were invented, how they were invented, all the people that went into that, all of whom got into that only because of all the people before that taught them about waves and micro and began experimenting and playing, all of that history, lineage, ancestry is within this magic box in your home that through a flip of a switch or the punch of a button transforms your reality in a way that benefits you. Or not. As far as microwaves, that's part of what you got to figure out. Maybe it's a toxic box a little bit in your home. And why are you using it? Why are you having a relationship with a toxic box? That's not for me to say particularly. Check out what impact it's having on your life. What choices, decisions, and habits are accruing around this thing. This microwave that I don't even have a relationship with. I don't even think about it. But you have a relationship with it that transforms how you live. Great, fine. Maybe not fine. Look at what it does. Does it make you lazier? In a good way or a bad way? Is it giving you rest and reprieve that you need? Maybe it is. Great. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're accruing habits that don't help you in your habits. That the habits you're using for food are now bleeding into everything. And it's a habit of shortcuts and a habit of not full nutrition for yourself. Maybe that's true. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. The only thing is to be aware of it. So you'd be like, oh, how am I choosing this relationship? Is it a magic box or is it a toxic box? Is it a bit of both? And so I just have to be aware of it. And in being aware of it, can you give thanks to it? I am not talking about you need to build a shrine or sermonize about microwaves. I'm not saying you have to be weird. It's just a microwave along with a million other things that are in the world. But that doesn't lessen its value to you. It doesn't matter that you bought it, it's yours. It's still an entity. And it doesn't matter that it's not sentient, it doesn't have wishes, it doesn't think about the relationship the way you do. It's just true that you're relating to it, and in that relation, it's changing, affecting, influencing your behavior. So have gratitude for its presence to do that. It's one more lens to look at yourself and see how you're doing, what you're doing, and make choices accordingly. If the microwave is a microcosm, meaning for everything, so if it's a micro, there must be micro. What's the relationship to my toothbrush? What's the relationship to my socks? What's the relationship to my wall? How do I feel when I look at this wall? Can I get so neutral and blank with all the other pushes and pulls just for 30 seconds? That means that even though everything's going on, it's going on in a balanced way, so you can really sense an individual ripple. When you're neutral, well, I'm taking everything in, I'm letting everything go. Let it in, let it go. Let it in, let it go, 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 let it be. To look at my own wall, feel it, and be like, oh, it makes me feel flat. Good, bad. Just check in. That's letting it be. Let it in, let it go, let it be. If you're doing that, then when something comes along, you feel it. For example, you might start to recognize who is angry in your life without looking at their content. Not to ignore their content, but to recognize that's a separate thing that you can agree with or not agree with, understand or not understand. Regardless of their content, what vibe are they sending off? When you watch them on the television, how does it make your body feel? If you leave watching the television like this, I'm gonna watch more television, and more television, and more television, and then I'm gonna go try to hurt somebody! I wonder what's happening on the television you're watching. My guess would be, what is it doing to you? Not what is it doing, just see what it's doing to you. So you can make decisions. Is the TV a toxic box or a magic box? There was a time when we built fires in caves for the luxury, the joy, the soulful satisfaction of seeing light flicker on a wall. We made drawings in the flickering light. This heightened sense of consciousness is our birthright, for lack of a better word. It's been with us always. Before the technology to transform it, before the ability to sell it and get with it, the desire to be aware of ourselves and then make something, say something, become a shadow on the wall, become a story to be told, is part of what we've been given. So it's crazy to be beholden to it or addicted to it in a bad way. It's such a beautiful thing. Yet we have turned it into a club with which we beat ourselves. What am I? Where do I stand up? How's everybody else doing? I gotta be the best. I gotta make the most money. We are bludgeoning ourselves with ourselves, taking the best of ourselves, the desire for a story, to be part of a myth, a legend, a legacy, this inherent human thing. We are pulsing it into toxic structures that amplify it and create the kind of disharmonious, anxious society we have. So just like you look at your TV and microwave, is that a toxic box or a magic box? Look at all your structures, your antennas, your towers, your buildings, your networks of electricity, your networks of information flow, and the servers and software that run all that. The flow of energy from source to inhabitant, the price of it, the value of it, who's trading it. These questions will tell us what kind of society we have, how flowy and open it is, or how cut up and profiteering it is in ways that make it a worse system. So we can look at our antenna, our structures, our grids, with the same awareness that we have of the microwave or the television, magic box, toxic box, as a microcosm. Now we look at these bigger things as a macrocosm. It's not, are they good or bad? They represent something about what we're doing, about how we're relating to the world, how we're relating to these structures and institutions we build. What they are will tell us that. So let's just listen. How does it feel? Why do we only allow 1% of people to make choices about everything? We have returned to fiefdoms and oligarchies. We have returned to systems where we have to look to just a few individuals in order to take the next step in the evolution of us, divine, amazing organization of consciousness in individual body, spawning like crazy, flourishing like crazy. Nature is flourishing with us. Nature and all our devices are flourishing. That's fine. That's great. We can dance with nature. The question is, are we fulfilling our role now as a dominant species to take care of the whole? Are we staying in balance with nature? And we're not. And we ought to be, because then we will improve our own being, our own societies. It begins by personally looking at your relationship to everything through a different lens. A lens of, I'm wiggling, I'm letting it in, I'm letting it go, I'm letting it be. I'm trying to find some sort of neutral in myself where that is a constant. I am both aware of everything in my life and letting it go and aware of it. I'm not ruled by obsessive thoughts or identity markers. I'm not waking up every day and saying, this is who I am based on my color, my gender, my hair, my height, my nationality. I'm not defining myself from the outside in. I'm connecting from the inside first. And at times I will have those fights, those battles, those lessons, those discoveries within myself. But that does not have to be the constant way of being. Once you find a definition, you don't have to go through the practice of identifying yourself. You can let it be. It might not be the dominant part of your psychology or psyche anymore. Once you've passed through it, identity should be fluid. Fluid doesn't mean changing. I was this and I'm that or this, that, this. Fluid just means in whatever you are, wherever you're at, you're fluid. You're not trying to tell yourself, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. Oh, I'm a man! This is what it means to be a man. What? There's no such thing as what it means to be a man. There's just being, and you're a man, so you're being a man. You just be in it. There's no way to be a man. There's no way to be a woman. There's no right way to do any of it. Be whatever you are. Be all of it, and then just be in it. So we change our relationship to everything by introducing neutral. By letting it be, letting it go, letting it in. And then feeling how everything in our life affects us. I really wish I knew where my hard drives were.